How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Don Lemon equating all Trump supporters, meaning all 74, 75 million of us that voted and many more that did not vote or could not vote. He wants to equate all of us with white supremacies, neo-Nazis, KKK, racists, and just general bad people. Now, that's kind of a stretch, don't you think, Don Lemon? I mean, good grief. Sure, there's an occasional racist that may support Trump, but the same thing can be said for a Hillary Clinton or a Joe Biden or anybody else on the left, right? That's a fact. But I'm not going to sit here and say that all liberals are racist, neo-Nazi, white supremacists, KKK. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to address the ones that go on television with a picture of Mao Zedong in the background talking about how bad Trump is. But different story. I digress. The whole point is that what he said was way over the top, which is pretty much par for the course for a Don Lemon and of CNN. But before I go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you'll see Don Lemon speaking to what's his name? Chris Cuomo. You'll see them having a conversation about what's going on. After we get done watching that, I'll talk about what he said there. Then I give you the rest of my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Now what you hear is, well, you can't say that everybody who voted for Trump is like the people who went into the Capitol. Response.
You can't say that what everybody's like.
Everybody who voted for Trump is like them.
No, I just explained to you. If you are on that side, you need to think about the side you're on. I'm never on the side of the Klan. I am principal people, conservative or liberal, never on the Klan side. Principal people, conservative or liberal, never on the Nazi side. Principal people who are conservative or liberal, never on the side that treats their fellow Americans as less than, that says that your fellow Americans should not exist, that says your fellow Americans should be in a concentration camp, or that sides with slavery, or sides with any sort of bigotry.
Right, and if they say, I don't agree with those people, I just like Trump's policy.
Well, then get out of the crowd with him. Get out of the crowd.
I wasn't in the crowd. I just voted for Trump.
You're in the crowd who voted for Trump. If you voted for Trump, you voted for the person who the Klan supported. You voted for the person who Nazis support. You voted for the person who the alt-right supports. That's the crowd that you are in. You voted for the person who incited a crowd to go into the Capitol and potentially take the lives of lawmakers, took the lives of police officers, took the lives of innocent lives who were there on the Capitol that day. You voted on that side, and the people in Washington are continuing to vote on that side.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, Don Lemon, come on, sir. Come on. Stop this. I understand it's part of your whole shtick, right? It's part of your whole branding. That's part of your whole situation. You got to call any Trump supporter racist, neo-Nazi, white supremacist, or whatever. But do you see me right now on camera? I'm a Trump supporter, okay? Regardless of what people want to say in all the media, I'm a Trump supporter regardless. So do I appear to be a racist or a neo-Nazi or white supremacist? Now, the logical, the real answer is no, I don't. And no, I'm not. I know I've never been. But some people on the left would look at me and think that I'm a white supremacist. Now, that's a really hard thing to actually say and be taken seriously, but they do it all the time. They call me and Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens and anybody that is a conservative a white supremacist. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter if you love everybody. If you have a record of loving everybody, it's irrelevant because you support Trump. That means you're a white supremacist. This is so dumb. But like I said, this is what Don Lemon does. He said this kind of thing before, like how he was saying that the most dangerous person on earth is a white man. Meanwhile, Don Lemon is married to a whole white man. All right. So why are you talking about all this, white, that? You're a black man. And you're basically coming off like everybody white is the scum of the earth and they're evil. But you're married to a whole white man. So how that work? How you sleep in the bed every night with a whole white man and then say white men are the most dangerous? You must like living on the wild side, but that's a different story. Now, I digress. My whole point is that Don Lemon is a nut. But this is all coming from the Capitol riot. Because he's saying, oh, it's just a bunch of white Trump supporters and they're racist and they had the Confederate flag and all this and that. most people that I know, just in my regular everyday life, people that call me on the phone, people that, know where I live at, people that I know that are conservative, denounce the whole Capitol thing. You're going to have some guys and girls on the internet that support it, but the majority of us don't support it. Trump does not support it. No Republican in office supports it. Most regular normies don't support it. The police don't support it. You have a small group of people that support the Capitol situation. Most of us don't. All right. And the reality, once we get back to that, which is a thing that Don Lemon is not really living in, once we get back to reality, the left, they are the ones that champion violence and insurrectionist type behavior. Let's not forget about all the BLM and Antifa riots that have happened over the past few years. Okay. Now, when I say that, somebody may say, oh, that's whataboutism. No, it's not. It's the exact same thing. I denounce all violence. I don't care if it's from the left, from the right. I denounce all of it, period. So I'm going to be consistent. The same way I talk about the Capitol riot being ridiculous and embarrassing and just something that nobody should be proud of and everybody should condemn, I'm going to say the exact same thing about all the BLM riots, all the Antifa riots, all the political violence. When they went to the Capitol or went to D.C. in 2017 and tore stuff up, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how they're in Portland, Oregon, trying to tear down the federal building. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Child Autonomous Zone in Seattle, Washington, where not one but two black teenagers got shot and killed. Okay, 119, 116. I'm going to talk about that as well. I'm going to talk about Sequoia Turner, an 8-year-old little girl got shot and killed in Atlanta by so-called BLM activists. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about all of that. It's all in the same box. It's all in the same boat, right? But on their side, on the left, they encourage it. What did Maxine Waters say? When anybody from their cabinet, meaning Trump's cabinet, when you see any of them get in their faces, make a scene, make them uncomfortable, like really saying it with their chest.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
So are we going to investigate her? Are we going to say that Maxine Waters is inciting violence and riots? Are we going to try to impeach her like they impeached Trump? And I never heard Trump say anything like that. I never heard Trump say, swarm the Capitol, get in their face and make them feel uncomfortable. I never heard anything like that from Trump. What did Trump say? Law and order, law and order. Okay, if you deface a federal building, 10 years in the penitentiary minimum. That's what I heard him say. But Maxine Waters did not say that. Kamala Harris retweeted an account to promote this bail money fund for those that got locked up during the Minneapolis so-called protests, which ain't do nothing but just tear stuff down, create more violence and crime and all types of stuff. Not just quote unquote property crime, because the leftists want to say, oh, we're just attacking property. Well, you had dozens of deaths from the so-called property damage. So what about the human beings that have lost their lives? How about them? How about those that have been raped, mugged, all of that? I mean, like, what about these people? I guess it really don't matter. I guess all that really matters is when there's a thing that you can attribute to Trump supporters, and then you want to go way above and beyond talking about, oh, you're racist and hateful and whatnot. If we want to be real, as I close, if you want to be real, most of the violence and the antagonism comes from the left, not the right. That's the reality. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like Don Lemon and say that all of the violence comes from the left or that everyone on the left is violent. But the truth is that there's much more violence that comes from the left than the right in this country. That's a fact. All right. Tell me how many riots have been started by so-called right-wing people that just wind up in a bunch of death. Tell me how many deaths that the so-called right wing are responsible for in this country, all right, versus the left. Let's have a real comparison. But again, I'm not going to say that everybody is doing it, but if you're going to react to a certain thing in a certain way, don't overreact. React the same across the board. Be consistent. That's all I ask. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that Don Lemon was accurate in his assertion of the Capitol riot and of the right wing? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or was he inaccurate? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. I think Don Lemon is a nut. He's just saying certain things because it gets, a rise out of his audience. At the end of the day, there was an issue at the Capitol and it shouldn't have happened. But at the same time, you got to keep that same energy for anything like that. I'm going to be the same across the board. I don't care if it's left, right, center. If it's wrong, I'm going to call it out, period. Don Lemon, all these guys on CNN, MS13, DNC, CBS, ABC, Fox even, they're hypocritical. All right, when a thing happens on the right, they want to go above and beyond and fall out and act like it's the end of the world. But if you got a bunch of death that comes from BLM and Antifa and groups affiliated with them or groups like them, then they want to stay silent. And as a matter of fact, when you want to call it out and say, hey, what's going on over here? What's going on with this BLM riot? What's going on with this little girl that got killed? They want to call you a racist. They want to call you white supremacist, even if you're not white. Their words have no more meaning. It's like the boy cried wolf. I don't believe anything I don't believe anything that's on television from the mainstream media anymore. I simply don't believe it. When I see a thing, I'm going to look into it and do my own independent research. I'm going to go all over the internets, all over mainstream media, alternative media, local media to find the truth, because you cannot rely upon your CNNs of the world to give you the truth anymore. All you're going to get is editorialism and halfway entertainment. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.